Some of the cars are meant to be works of art, and simply gazing at them is enough to keep you entertained. On the other hand, there are some genuinely awful, completely ugly-looking cars that are categorized as vehicles for some reason. In today's video, we will be looking at 10 cars that are voted the most ugly cars of all time. Number 10. Nissan Q. Surprisingly, this Nissan isn't the weirdest-looking vehicle on our list. The Nissan Q, as its name suggests, was produced for more than 20 years before being phased out in 2019. Not bad for a car that looks like 4 wheels and an engine were slapped onto a Q. It's probably unsurprising that a car with such a ludicrous appearance performs admirably on the road. What else might it be used for if not that? That explains its 3-generation lifespan and 2-decade existence. The Nissan Q was a dependable little runabout with a spacious and airy cabin. Number 9. 1946 Crossley CC. Crossley's small vehicles were popular during World War II's petrol rationing, and when the war ended, they were ready with a new automobile dubbed the CC. It was one of the first production automobiles to use a slab-sided design without running boards, and one glance at it makes you wonder how the style took on. The Crossley looked more like a toy than an automobile, with its flattened face and tiny wheels. A new stamped steel overhead camshaft engine sat behind the toilet seat cover hood, which proved to be every bit as problematic as its container was unsightly. And as wealth came after the war, the Crossley was abandoned. Number 8. Fiat Multipla. The Fiat Multipla, an MPV with 3 seats in the front row and large windows all around, was one of the few automobiles with such a focus on utility. Multipla, on the other hand, is frequently followed with the adjective ugly, particularly the pre-facelift model, which featured a hideous pair of headlights carved directly into the space below the windshield. Massive windows gave it the appearance of a rolling greenhouse, and as you opened the door, things didn't get any better. The whole instrument cluster was centered and angled slightly towards the driver. The middle stack is packed with gauges and knobs, giving it the look of a Fisher-Price child activity board that's been slashed with a razor blade. The Multipla is so bizarre that even the French felt it was hideous. It is really one of the world's ugliest automobiles. Number 7. Chevrolet SSR. If anybody in 2003 was interested about the demand for a 2-seat convertible pickup truck, they didn't have to wait long. The Chevrolet SSR barely lasted 4 years. One of the SSR's odd-looking features is its massive fenders that protrude beyond the rest of the vehicle. It's a shame, because the retro-styled vehicle really drove far better than it appeared. A plush cabin sat atop a 300 HP V8 engine that made the pickup more than a little nimble. Regardless of its use, the SSR's curving front, which looks like someone passed the front of the Volkswagen Beetle on a truck, is difficult to get accustomed to. Number 6. 1958 Subaru 360. Subaru produced and sold the Subaru 360, a rear-engine, 2-door city vehicle, from 1958 until 1971. The Subaru 360 was designed to adhere to rigorous Japanese K-vehicle specifications, which restricted its dimensions and engine size. The 360, dubbed the Ladybug in Japan and eventually succeeded by the R2, was one of Japan's most popular vehicles and came in 2-door, station wagon, convertible, and sporty forms. Few K vehicles from the late 1950s and early 1960s are attractive, but the 360 is one of the most obnoxious, resembling a unique type of marine creature with various congenital abnormalities. When Subaru began importing the vehicle to the United States in 1968, it was dubbed cheap and ugly in advertising. Even if the Subaru 360 isn't attractive, truth in advertising is always great to witness. Number 5. AMC Gremlin. The AMC Gremlin was a subcompact car produced and marketed by American Motors Corporation in a single, 2-door body type, as well as in Mexico by AMC's Vehículos Automotores Mexicanos subsidiary. American Motors Corporation is likely one of the manufacturers you were unaware about. AMC managed to build one of the weirdest cars in the history of the automobile industry during its few decades of operation. To be honest, it's probably one of the ugliest. The Gremlin was classed as an economy vehicle and fought against the Chevrolet Vega and Ford Pinto, as well as foreign automobiles such as the Volkswagen Beetle and Toyota Corolla, using a reduced Hornet chassis and bodywork with a prominent campact tail. It's known as the AMC Gremlin. AMC supplied a front end inspired by a classic American pony car, as well as a back end that could be chopped with an axe. Combine a pony car and a small hatchback from France. But the people at AMC thought it was a good idea, so they went ahead and executed it. From 1979 to 1983, it was replaced by a restyled and updated version, the AMC Spirit, long after the Ford Pinto, which was plagued by reports of bursting gas tanks, and the Chevrolet Vega, which had durability issues with its aluminum engine. What an odd method to construct a vehicle. It's no surprise it's been dubbed the world's ugliest car. Number 4. 2002 Renault Aventime. The Renault Aventime is a Grand Tourer produced by Renault between 2001 and 2003. It was developed and constructed by Matra. The Aventime was created by Philippe Guédon, president of Matra's automotive business, and designed and developed in-house by Renault affiliate Matra. Renault's concept for the Aventime should ring a bell. It was designed for people who had become accustomed to the size of their space minivans, much like today's large 5-seat SUVs like the Honda Passport and Ford Edge. It was a fascinating piece of machinery in several ways. The articulated doors were interesting, the glass roof looked futuristic, and the reverse slanted rear window would be carried over to subsequent Renault models. Renault thought this was a stretch after selling only 8,000 units in 2 years and abandoned the project. Renault concedes that the Aventime was a flop even in this retrospective documentary. Number 3. Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet. The Nissan Murano's second generation was just another uninteresting SUV. Nissan, on the other hand, chose to create a new Murano by compromising the vehicle's utility and purpose. As a result, the Murano Cross Cabriolet project was developed. The Cross Cabriolet was on exhibit at the 2010 Los Angeles Auto Show. Despite Nissan's claims that it was the first convertible crossover on the market, it was a flop. Murano was a straight trip to the list of ugliest vehicles because of its tall stance, short wheelbase, large doors, and boring retractable roof design. This wasn't Nissan's first effort at turning a regular car into a convertible. What's odd in this situation is that they failed once again after a disastrous Micra C+C in 2002. Number 2. Nissan S-Cargo. The Nissan S-Cargo is a tiny retro-styled van that was built by Nissan from 1989 to 1991 and sold only in Japan through Nissan Cherry stores. The Citroën 2CV fourgonette delivery van influenced the external appearance of the S-Cargo. The name had a double meaning, as it stood for small cargo and sounded similar to escargot, the French word for snail, which is also a nickname for the Citroën 2CV. The S-Cargo was first shown at the Tokyo Motor Show in 1989, and it was first sold without Nissan branding and only on reservation. 8,000 were made throughout the course of the 2-year production cycle. The S-Cargo, together with the Nissan Figaro BEs 1 and POW, is known as Nissan's Pike vehicles, due to their roots at Pike Factory. Number 1. Plymouth Prowler. And first on our list is the ugliest car in history. From the start, the Plymouth Prowler was startling, and to be honest, it has stayed that way to this day. It has a striking similarity to hot rods, and it's possible that it's the only automobile with such a short gap between outlandish hot rod aesthetics and mainstream manufacturing. The open front wheels, influenced by 1930s hot rods, resemble something from an IndyCar race. The Prowler seems out of place on the roads with those wheels and a V-shaped front end. The notion of producing a production automobile that looked like a hot rod was fantastic, but it was severely hampered by a slew of regulations that had to be met in order for the car to make it to the assembly line. We can't discuss this automobile without highlighting its most distinctive oddity, the bumpers. Both the front and back bumpers protrude from the car's body and appear to be an afterthought from the designers. It does not, however, disappoint as a sports vehicle, with some later variants hitting 60 mph in less than 6 seconds from a standstill. So, while the potential was enormous, the end result was underwhelming and, to top it off, ugly. That was the end of our video in the countdown for most ugly cars. If you guys had fun watching this video, then you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments which car was the ugliest according to you. Until then, stay tuned to our channel, and we will be back with more videos.